Welcome back, this is M-Dog. I figured it was too long since we've done a Bream video, so let's do a Bream video. We're here at Old Burg. We're going to test this spot. I have this sneaky suspicion that this may not be the best Bream spot ever, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm also testing a couple of theories here on gear. The problem right now is that I have no idea what's the best bream bait. If you look at weeklies, even if you break it down by region, it's really split. Even like if you just look at today, it's really split between garlic dough and cottage cheese. So yeah, I'm just not sure. It is so split. So we're going to have to find out, because what you really want to know is what is the best bite rate. Now, something else is folks these days typically use 5.4 liters for bream. I'm going to put this on size 8 hook as well. So we're now using size 8 hook. I guess we'll just start with cottage cheese, and then if we see that garlic dough is getting a better bite rate, we'll change both to garlic dough. We are at 15, or change the third one to garlic dough. We are at 15 meter clip. We're at 46.36 down here at F6. I've seen a couple of different, we'll do a little smaller friction break on this one since we do have the smaller leader. I've seen a couple of different posts on this bream spot. Okay, so here's our... Oh, do we not have a leader on here? All right, that's going to mess us up. We'll get a leader on there shortly. Here's our different setups. And notice that I'm using size 8 hooks because I'm really wanting to see what the bite rate's like here. And the other thing I would say... Oh, we need to change our quiver tip as well. The other thing I would say is that... it's only been like fairly recently that people have started like always using smaller leaders. 5.4 is probably the most common, and larger hooks. You know, before, back in the day, we would use 9.7 fluorocarbon leaders. We would use 9.7 straight fluorocarbon line, 10 kilo fluorocarbon line, and catch all kinds of bream trophies, you know? So I guess what I'm, and I just don't fish bream as much these days, so it's just harder for me to know or say how important that change has been for that people are now using the much smaller leader and much larger hook. Most people, when they fish bream these days, they usually use a large one hook. Which, you know, the counter argument would be that that's just too big a hook for the size fish we're going after. It's also a pretty large hook for the bait that we're using. But, you know, I mean, a lot of people do that, so it must work. I'm not saying that that doesn't work, but I figured I would just start with a more traditional approach that I would have used a long time ago, back when I was really spending, I mean, before I got into carp fishing, even when I was at still a fairly high level, I just spent a ton of time going after bream. By the way, we are using regular green ground bait as well here. And we're still, you know, at the very beginning of bream time. It should get a little more consistent according to how good the spot is as we move into actual nighttime. So we've had 0 bites so far on this third one, but let's keep tabs with garlic dough. Got the first bream over 1 kilo, so we need to kind of watch that. We might even want to cast this way slightly more. I think I'll do that. Whoa! there's the smaller leader bringing in the first really nice bream. All right, I'm going to start kind of going this way, just slightly more. That wasn't a very good cast there, was it? So I guess we'll just see if the largest bream really do come in on the smallest leader. Maybe they are greatly impacted by leader size these days. So right now we've got one on cottage cheese, one on garlic dough that were keepers over a kilo. But I am using size 8 hook on all three. Again, you know, if nothing else, let's just see what the bite rate's like. I think there's a real difference though. If you are lower level or you know, even still leveling up, but trying to focus on getting silver to save for stuff, sometimes it is better to have a really good bite rate versus sitting in a spot with large one hooks, hoping to get a trophy at the expense of catching more fish. And then if the trophy doesn't come in, then you've just kind of spent that time not catching fish. But if you're higher level and you're just trying to complete a trophy card or just, you know, hunting for trophies, then that's kind of a different thing. But, and again, I just don't know. That's going to be a marker, but it's small. Nope, not even a marker. Okay. I just don't know how great of effect the hook size is having these days. But even the couple of posts that I've seen about this spot, to me, it doesn't look like, yeah, occasional trophy might be caught in here, and it's maybe a reasonable farm. I don't think this is as good as some bream spots at Old Burg can be, at least based on what other people's experiences seem to be in this spot. All right, so we've definitely seen, I think I can say already that on the larger leader, we're definitely seeing more smaller bream come in. Small sample size, but so far, of course, the largest one was on the small leader. The 1.1 was on the garlic dough, which is the middle line. So let's just keep watching it, and then maybe we'll make some adjustments, since at this point we're still early. You want to fish bream from about 1900 all the way till at least 7 a.m. typically. And as you can see, not only can bream spots be a good way to spend an overnight session to make some silver during the night, it's also a good way if you're already at the point, 50% on bait harvesting. It's a good way to get some fish pieces if you need fish pieces for burbot or eel, Chinese sleepers, whatever you're going for with your fish pieces. I think fish is on this third line now. It's another decent one. So let's see what the other two poles pull in here. If they're barely marker. If they are small still, then I might change leader size on all three. Because right now the hook size is identical. Okay, that'll be a marker, I think. Oh, not quite. Not quite. Huh. Okay, let's change it on the fly here. So let's go straight fluorocarbon line, and we're going to go 6-point fluorocarbon line, and then on the middle rod we'll do a, oh, that reset the leader, didn't it? I mean the the clip whenever you put new line on. Alright, and we're at 15 clip. I always want to go to 17. I've been fishing at Bear so much. Alright, so I guess let's just see what that does. So we're getting some rain here. Could be good for our bream. Okay. So this one, let's go ahead and see if we have a 5.4 liter we can use. And we can go to 4.3 if we want to get really ridiculous about it. Actually, I'm going to throw it back in with what it has. I'm going to see if I can make a more legitimate 5.4 liter. Yeah, see, I don't know if that made a difference or not. Well, we were already catching small bream, so maybe that really didn't make a difference. One thing I don't like right now is we're sort of in between setting up differently. We have cottage cheese on the first and third line, and then garlic dough's on the middle line, which is the only one that we haven't changed liter size or line size. Alright, so let's see if we go... Let's see if we have something that's 5.4 we can beg, borrow, or steal from. We don't. So again, we could go 4.4. Or we'll just put on a regular 5.4 liter that's not 60 centimeters. So, you know, we'll just see what the spot looks like. There's a nice one on the full liter size. So I guess I'll keep it the same for now. The only thing I don't like is that we just... Oh, gosh. One thing I don't like is that we are... since we don't know what bait to use, we've got you know, the different baits makes the test a little more convoluted. Cottage cheese, garlic dough, cottage cheese, garlic dough. So it's pretty even, and yet we have cottage cheese on 2 lines and garlic dough just on 1. Another nice one on cottage cheese. It seems like normally one bait really is working the best, but maybe both of these baits are pretty even right now for bream at Old Burg. Earlier in the week, pea porridge is what people were using here. but as you take a look at the weeklies, it seems like garlic dough and cottage cheese quickly took over the larger sizes, at least. I always think of pea porridge as being more for Volkov, but I think that's just because so often back in the day we would use pea porridge at Volkov for Bream and also catch nice eyed at the same time. But that's not always the case. That's just some of the memories I have from long ago of bream fishing. So yeah, I just noticed 2.1 bream here on garlic dough, and just for what it's worth, we're using 7.4 liter. So I'm still not convinced that all this 5.4 liter stuff is necessary. And this one is straight fluorocarbon line, which that does sometimes seem to do really well. Not necessary, but sometimes straight fluorocarbon's a good idea. It's the time of night where we might see a little bit of a slowdown, and hopefully it'll pick back up. If it does slow down, hopefully it'll pick back up pretty nice around 4. But maybe we'll just keep catching. Let's see. I'd love to see a trophy come in on this middle line with the bigger leader. That'd be awesome. And of course the other thing that you could test is going back to the larger hooks. 6, 4, even 1s, which is what a lot of people would use. But you just have to do a lot of testing and just see if you can pick up on themes. You can't say anything definitive though. It's just there's so many factors at play. I remember fishing for white bream with 22 size hooks and catching a regular bream trophy. So sometimes they're just going to come in. Bream are, I guess, cautious fish, but when a spot's active, I mean they're gonna be coming in fairly decent. So it's hard to say anything definitive unless you get a lot of testing in. And I think at this point enough people use large 1 hooks that there's probably something to that. If you are wanting to significantly increase the size or have a chance of, a higher chance of trophy, but I also just think you want to be careful, make sure it's not impacting your bite rate. When I started playing, the debate was more what's better, size 10 or size 8 for bream. And for me, 8 always seemed like the right spot. And then moving forward from there was a lot of discussion between 8 and 6. Now here we are using large 1. I mean, I'm not at the moment, but I certainly have, and I see that's what a lot of other folks tend to use. Let's see what people were using on these postings. Yeah, that person was using large 1 hooks. And I'm not going to take the effort to scroll down to the other one. The other one was like a couple days ago or a day ago, but I guarantee you there's a good chance they were using large 1. which I suppose we could put a large one hook on this one just for testing, since we've got these two with 8s, 2 different baits. See how much it seems to slow down the bite rate with the bigger hook. But then if a trophy were to come in, you know, you can't put too much stock into that, because it's like, well, it might have come in on the size 10 hook. You just don't know. Yeah, a lot of these are small. If a bream spot is like awesome, once you're like, you know, all the way into the overnight time, a lot of times you'll see these smaller breams stop coming in when it's like prime time bream. But I know a lot of low to mid-level players depend on these bream spots to finance their carp gear or spinning gear if they want to get trolling at Corey or Volkov or whatever. So I like to come back and check this out when I can. It sounds like we've got a winner on there. So let's just let him get tired for a second and make a stacker bream ground bait. 9 out of 10. So this is 6.4 fluorocarbon line. It is the one with straight fluorocarbon. And 6.4 I kind of like. It's sort of in between. It's not the extreme of 5.4 or 5 whatever. But it's also not quite as big as what we would normally use. I assume that we're not on a common carp or something. It is acting like a bream. There's always a chance in this type of situation that the bream will pop off. Not necessarily a lot you can do about it. Just some RNG with that too. Just when it's pulling, try not to reel against it. You do a lot more damage to your reel if you're trying to reel in while the fish is pulling away. But besides that, just keep tension up, and most cases you'll catch the fish. He seems to be coming straight in. I don't want to look down too drastically here, but I think this is going to be just under trophy size. Yeah, it's a nice 3.8 or something, I think. 4.1, very nice fish. Oh, we do need our bream ground bait. Here's another nice one. What is this on 5.4 though? We need to lower that friction brake. That thing is just gonna snap on a trophy if we have it up that high. And then here we have, actually, did I say that right? No, this one's still 7.4. This is the one that's at 5.4. All right, so we've got 5.4, large one hook. And we'll keep cottage cheese, I guess, since we've been using cottage cheese on this one. We won't change too much at the same time. So far, it seems like cottage cheese and garlic dough are both working pretty comparatively. So hook sizes now are 8, 8, and then 1. line is 6.4, 7.4, and 5.4. So we have now turned, if we were to catch a trophy on this one, turned it into a pretty long, not long because they'll wear itself out, but a scary fight initially. It'll definitely run on us for a bit. And we are on trophy watch. 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. You see, if you're going to see a trophy, a lot of time it's sort of in that range. Let's see what that large one hook came up with here. It is a marker. To make a bream spot really worthwhile, I normally say I want to see 18 over a kilo. I mean, it's really healthy if you can get 18 over a kilo. And so right now we're at 6, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're just like 4 off from feeling like this is a pretty good spot. Even 12 is okay. But you start seeing the silver go up pretty significantly when you're at like 18 or more over a kilo. Even though those are markers, you don't really count those. They're just not worth as much. Oh, so the only one that we have, so anything that we're catching on garlic dough, cottage cheese, cottage cheese, cottage cheese, garlic dough. So the 4th largest one was caught on garlic dough, and that's on the big leader. Nice barbel gelder. We're seeing some small bream for all of a sudden here. I mean, even the markers are small. There's another one over a kilo. I think for me, I might just start using like 6.4 as my standard leader size, leaders for bream. That seems like a good compromise size. And maybe I'll start using like size 4 hooks. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, nope. Clip it. So we just went to 6.4 straight fluorocarbon leader, and that's just because I don't have, straight fluorocarbon line. That's just because I don't have fluorocarbon leaders made up right now for 6.4. Because bream seem like they'd be a good fish. They might respond well to the 60 centimeter leader size in terms of being cautious, trying to hit the trophies. So where do we stand? We caught what, one more? 6, 12, so 16 over a kilo. It's not 7 a.m. yet, so I think we're going to hit 18 most likely. There's 17. Ooh, there's 18. So a lot of bream activity. But we are catching a significant amount of small ones too. Now we move into the morning hours where the number of smalls might start to dominate. Depends on how good a spot is. Sometimes you can go all the way till 9 or so, but I think this spot's going to be just about done here at 7, 8 in the morning. This is sometimes, though, when you get a runner, too, so I don't want to call it just yet. Definitely see, I think the bite rate on the large one hook is a little bit slower, but it hasn't been bad. It hasn't been terrible. just getting small, aren't they? There's another decent. Another decent. Get another uptick in some reasonable ones here. Having a hard time staying on top of our comfort level in the rain here. If you don't have garlic dough or cottage cheese unlocked yet, definitely, try pearl barley. Pearl barley is really, you can unlock pearl barley very quickly and inexpensively. And that will typically work, even if it's not catching the monster bream. It'll usually, most spots it'll do okay. It's another decent one. We'll throw this line one more time. I think we're going to run into the end of our streak here, though. It's almost 9 a.m. Even though it's overcast and raining, I just wouldn't expect this spot to be worthwhile much longer. The catch rate, though, I mean, we've gone over more than one stack of ground bait in one night. All right, let's see what's on our large one hook over there. Looks like it might have caught another decent one. Maybe we should have had large one hooks on all three. It's just barely a marker. All right. Let's see how we did. I mean, I would think over 100 silver is what I would expect. And maybe we got lucky with a cafe order too. Who knows? But you don't have to put too many successful bream nights together in a row to be able to afford that next step up. Fortuna carp rod or caliber HSV or whatever direction you're going in. It doesn't take too much time. It's not too bad. All right, so no bream order. So let's just see how we did. 130 silver. Not too bad. One night of fishing, and then you've still got the daytime to make some more silver. You easily get 200 plus silver in a day here at Old Burg when spots are firing off. Some folks have been going for pike during the day. You could just catch roach. I think there's a decent roach spot right now, actually. Let's go. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I'd be curious about that. Oh, it's not that one. I may not be able to find it quick enough. I think it was just like on cheese. But, yeah, here it is. All right, let me see what they were using. They might not have even been using ground bait. Oh, maybe they were. All right, let's just go look at this real quick. It's always nice to have something to do during the day. So we're going over to 1668. But if the roach are decent, it is I wonder if I have roach ground bait. It's another, of course, basic ground bait that you can make from a very low level. And looks like they were using size 9 hooks, which is kind of weird. I probably don't even have 9 hooks. So we'll go 8 and 10. Just see what we're catching. We probably want to change line around too, to be honest. Roach, I don't think are as sensitive. We'll just leave it. I don't know. Sometimes up here I get a little nervous. Sometimes carp can kind of blow you up here. So that may happen, but we won't fish this too long. I just want to see if this spot's active just to give you an idea for something you could do during the day. So what did I say, 1668? Yeah, sometimes this is a really active carp spot. Sometimes it's tench. I guarantee you we're going to be casting an angle over here too into this gook. Yeah, that's what it looks like. All right. 8 clip. And we're just using cheese and roach ground bait. Let's just see what the bite rate looks like here for a second. So we want to put this as common roach. And this one we'll do 10. Uh, 5.4. All right, let's take a chance and go down to like 4.3. And I think I'll do 10 on this one as well. No, we'll do 8. We'll just, here's a hook. We don't care if we get busted up here. All right, see if we're catching anything. Again, just want to make a little bit silver during the day to complement what you're doing at night. And if you're not targeting pike, or if there's not a really active pike spot at Old Burg and you don't feel like traveling, sometimes roach or crucian gibbles, that kind of stuff. And if you're or tench for that matter, if there's a good tench spot. But if you're nervous about targeting carp, then sometimes roach is reasonable to target. Make a little bit more silver, hit a cafe order. I will say that if you do have, that's a nice size too. I don't know how many are going to be that size, but that size roach is really nice. If you do have the gear or the desire to target carp during the day, that's another good option to go with bream. And down here in the pond, the boot area has been reasonably good for carp lately. So we have a fish on. It's just, which one is it on? It's probably really small. Looks like this one. And while we're catching fish here, I should have done this a long time ago. We'll put it on 21 gram. See these bites a little more clearly. Should have done this for the bream as well. Let's see if we still are showing a fish. All right, maybe not. So far the 8 hasn't caught one. So it really might be that 9 or 10 size is just better. But that could also just be random. Roaches do nibble a little more. It's about to be noon. I mean, we got about 8 more hours in game before you're going to want to go set up on the bream spot again. So as you can see, you can get a couple spots like this going, and you're just constantly fishing, leveling up your skill points, making your silver, having fun. Especially at lower to mid levels, it's worth thinking about, like, okay, how do I efficiently go about this where I can be catching fish all day long? And usually the right answer is not to just sit at a bream spot during the day where all you're catching is little baby non-marker bream. That's usually better use of your time than that. Just fish for bream at night. That's our first non-marker, but I'm just sitting here thinking, what's the roach? 50 to 100. I couldn't remember if it was 1 to 150 or not, but and if you really want to catch a common roach trophy, then, you know, use this bait setup, but come a little earlier. You're, you know, really likely, obviously, to catch one first thing in the morning, or then again, late afternoon, early evening. But with roach trophies, sometimes you can just get them anytime too. Definitely seeing some decent markers come out even here in the middle of the day. And there's a lot of other baits that roach really like too. The biggest roach is usually at Sura. Sura and Ladoga. Might be interesting to try caddisfly in this spot. Or peas. Sometimes work really well for roach. Bark beetle larvae. But cheese does seem to be working right now, so we won't complain. That's a nice one. All right, we'll see a couple more fish here, and then we'll wrap it up. I just impulsively decided, like, hey, let's talk about somewhere you can fish during the day now that we've seen the spot for bream at night. Another nice one. And so far, it is another big one. So far, it has been 100% roach, which is good. If you hook into a grass carp or a big common or something down here, you're going to be chasing all around the lake if you don't have the gear for it. See if that nibble turns into a fish. So yeah, pretty quick bite rate. 5 minutes. We're already at 7 fish. We threw back several. So it's just constant action right here at the moment. Nibble, nibble. All right, I think he's on there. It's just small. Oh, it's not too bad. All right. Bream and roach. Go get them. Tight lines. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.